What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of the Raptor Attack Podcast. I am one of your hosts, James Parsons, and today I'm joined by Anthony Green.
Good day.
Aaron Powell, Sam Busher, and Matt Crandon. Each of us has brought a topic to the table, gaming and geek, and we're going to talk about them until there are no words left. You can find us at Twitter, at the Raptor Attack. You can find us at twitch.tv/Raptor Attack UK. You can find us at YouTube, where you are right this very second, hopefully. If you're on Facebook, Powell.
Get off Facebook.
Thank you, Powell.
Get to YouTube.
Where you can like, subscribe, comment and share. We're pretty much just going to jump into the topics today. We are going to start with Aaron Powell.
Alright.
Oh, here we go.
A couple of weeks ago, PlayStation announced that they had miraculously found some way to emulate a PS2 memory card. Anyway, they were thinking about bringing PS2 games into the PS4, into next-gen technology. My question is, what game, from growing up, from previous consoles, from PC, from whatever, would you like to bring into the next generation of gaming? For myself, for myself, hands down, it would be Jak and Daxter. It was the greatest game on the PlayStation 2.
Ratchet and Clank are better.
You're coming out and saying, well, we're going to start this fight in a minute. You're coming out and saying that it was the greatest game on the PS2, but I would probably say that aside from PC, because you can stretch from start to end, right? So from the day that a PC was created and the first game was made to now, that the PS2 probably has the best game library that exists. If you think about what came out, yeah? I mean, come on, SmackDown was on it.
SmackDown was on it.
I never play wrestling games. Like, I was awful. Terrible.
You've let me down there.
There's a system.
Much better at wrestling in
press
real
all
life.
the buttons in a circular motion, like.
I think that's how Luke used to be all the time.
Yeah. But no, yeah, Jak and Daxter, I think the first game out, everyone thought it was maybe a bit childish, whatever. It had that sort of Crash Bandicoot feel to it, but second game came in, Jak 2 kicked off, got gritty, got dark, got superpowers. It just took it to the next level, and I think I'd like to see that brought into the modern day. Better graphics, better.
So you want the full
Full experience.
the works.
You know, there's a reason why they are already bringing Ratchet and Clank into next gen.
Well, Ratchet and Clank obviously didn't have the fan base it needed, so they've had to constantly churn games out, trying to win people over.
Isn't that what this game's doing now?
No?
Ratchet and Clank made some mistakes though, didn't they? Have you seen like, is it All for One or something like that? Or they have done some like late PS3 games and stuff that were bad.
Yeah,
Naughty Dog.
GeForce.
I think I downloaded it, PlayStation Plus, and
Yeah, I've got it on
mistake.
PlayStation now. I played it the other day, and it's like arena based.
it's so weird.
My God.
Is it like a MOBA? Is it Dota, but Ratchet and Dota?
Yeah.
Ratchet and Dota.
But oh my God. My God.
Basically,
So much rainbow.
Naughty Dog knew when everyone had had enough, and
Of course, Naughty Dog was Jak, man.
they
They're
know
heroes.
that they're not going to do Jak and Daxter 4 because they know they will never do it justice. Whereas whatever tripe who are making Ratchet and Clank are just churning that, flogging the dead horse.
I feel like I've never played either of these games, so I'm clearly in the dark.
All the way.
Yeah,
Can I just point out? Would you rather have a sarcastic, funny ferret on your shoulder or a robot?
I'll be the sarcastic, funny ferret.
That's actually yes. See what I did then?
Shit.
See what he did?
Oh shit.
Jak can
He's in check right
has dark powers. He can pretty much go Super Saiyan.
now. Money's nuts and bolts.
Oh.
Jak has a hoverboard.
I've got lots of them.
Your weapon
God.
is a wrench.
See,
Oh, that's not
kind of
done
like
for
all
me.
my combinations of favourite things bunched into one.
Well, I played both, so.
I would love to see a Super Smash Brothers between Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter.
That's a pretty weak roster if that's
I
the
don't
whole
care.
thing.
Yeah,
The whole cast of 4 characters.
Choose your pair.
Just tag team. Just tag team.
I've got quite a good answer to this one, and I reckon it will probably be a unanimous decision across the table.
Yes.
And
It better be.
it's not necessarily bringing what I'd consider a retro or old game to current gen. It would be bringing an existing game to where it should be in the generation. And this is fucking Monster Hunter. Why is Monster Hunter not currently a next gen game? Why is it
That's
not on
fantastic,
Xbox One?
yeah.
Why is it not on PC? Why is it not on PS4?
It's on DS.
It's on. Is DS a next generation console?
And you can make that same argument
No,
about Wii U.
that's not what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
like the
I'm
Wii U.
asking what it's on.
Yeah, it's on. I'm pretty sure it's on the DS. It's on the Wii.
It's on the 3DS.
The Wii U,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
It's not one of like Nintendo-owned brand, is it? Like,
Is it
can't do
Nintendo-owned?
It's
No, it's-
Capcom. Is it Capcom? Capcom.
Capcom.
Yeah.
Capcom Chancellor.
Yeah.
He owns it.
But yeah, I've never understood it because I remember the first time my friends they all had PSP, so playing on so I went, why not? I'll jump on the bandwagon. I'll get involved, and it consumed my life for like 4 or 5 weeks. My file was absolutely enormous, and I just got completely absorbed into this game. And the one question I constantly asked was, when is this coming to console? When is this coming to console? Because you'd sit there and play with somebody in the same room, and you'd be like, you want to play this online with 8 people, 16 people.
Here's the deal. So, my first experience was actually the PS2 very first Monster Hunter, and I actually went out and got the online capable PS2 to be able to plug it in the Ethernet and actually play with people. By that point, there was maybe 6 people still playing it in the world. Because I had to save up for, I bought it for £3, pre-owned, whatever.
Took me 6 months.
6 years! For £6, it was £1 a year, it was difficult times. My next experience was probably the 3DS. No, PSP, I played Freedom Unite 2, which was great, no online. They added something in that ad hoc thing for PS3, so you could, but again, it was, it's not in the game, like it's janky. Then the DS or the 3DS version, and now the latest one has online on the 3DS. And it actually works, like you don't need to know the people in advance, you can just go to a random lobby of people the same level, and it's good. But it's not good enough because it's on the handheld.
Yeah.
I want it on a big screen. I don't want it on the Wii U. I don't want to have to go out and buy a Wii U for Monster Hunter, especially with the NX coming.
It's still got the ganky control system. I remember on the PSP where you have to learn to use the analog with your thumb whilst crossing your fingers across the buttons, and it's
a game where
I've never understood the decision to not bring it to Xbox or PS4.
I can guarantee though, if it came to Xbox or PS4, they would change the controls to make them better and put in a leveling up system for the character, because the way that game makes you play is you get better. The character doesn't level up at any point. You get better equipment, but you can only get that by fighting things you aren't good enough to fight. By you getting better. The controls are difficult by purpose. Draw weapon is also a different attack. Put weapon away is also use item. So you can't use items while your weapons are out. They slow you down, etc., etc. Yeah, I'd like to see that next gen.
Sounds confusing.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that next gen.
I feel like that could happen, like, quite... like, Monster Hunter's not, like, a franchise that's died off yet.
No, it's still massive in Japan. The reason why it's on handhelds is because you have to get a train to everywhere in Japan.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not on the Vita is upsetting, but there's no support for the Vita anyway, so it's not surprising. Vote with your wallets. Buy Vitas. They'll make games, I promise. What's yours then, Matt?
I think I don't know whether this is current, but I've always liked the idea of having an RPG-based Pokemon game, like where.
So you're
RPG.
actually taking a game and not just giving it the next gen shine. You're actually saying no, this is where it
Well,
needs to go.
it kind of has the next gen shine, but they've already seemed to have done that. So it's kind of taken out the topic slightly.
With the remakes, I suppose so.
But like with the remakes, it's updating the graphics. It's making it like they changed camera angle and made everything look a bit 3D, haven't they?
Yeah. You also don't have to just run up, down, left, or right. They're
Yeah,
giving you that.
Whoa, you can go diagonal?
Yeah.
Breaking all the rules.
I haven't played it since Red.
If
so.
Professor Oak knew about this,
But
you can even do it on your bike.
I don't know whether I'd have to revisit my thought process, but like it's always stuck in my mind as something that like when I was big into RPGs, I was like, sick with Pokemon here.
Yeah.
If you could do it like this, and like maybe like the combat system, like you wouldn't go up to like a Pokemon like a normal RPG and go and hack and slash at it. Like it would then go into like Pokemon Coliseum sort of combat based system.
Yeah.
It's still the same combat turn-based system, but then you've got the cinematic of like Charizard wants to breathe in fire, he'll like
Actually breathe.
suck it up
Yeah.
and breathe it out rather than it just going.
Did you ever play Digimon World 1?
No, I've never been big into Digimon.
Yeah, Digimon.
That game
check
was my jam.
Digimon World 1, right?
Yeah.
I was actually watching a live stream because there's a new one coming out for PS4.
I always
soon.
thought that
It's-
Digimon was just like a crap Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's how I saw
I think
it.
that's how everyone sees
It's
it.
sitting on the
It's not
coattails,
just me
right?
then,
It was
yeah.
sitting on the coattails. But the actual the game premise itself was that you were sucked into the Tamagotchi world.
Okay.
And the game presents itself so like you have to go and like take your Agumon to the toilet when it wants to poop, and you have to
What?
discipline it when it does things wrong. But you're also leveling it up in the gym and fighting things and trying to digivolve it.
So
But it
it's
is a
like,
3D
it's like Tamagotchi
presented.
mixed with Pokemon.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Digimon.
But no, I can see what you're talking about with Pokemon. Like, you want to be able to walk through Route 1, go to Viridian City, and like the camera is behind the character, and you can see Viridian City. Yeah. Nintendo have pretty much said that they're not going to do an MMO on the new console because they don't have to. They're financially sound. They don't need to take a risk. That's pretty much what they've come out and said.
It's not really a risk, is it? It's got to be a home run. If that ever came out, everyone would just stay at home and play the game.
Could you imagine? Every single person who owns a console at that point will go, well, I'll buy the new Nintendo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Nintendo have either got to do that or say, Mario's going to be on PlayStation and Xbox, and we're not going to do
Tell
hardware
you
anymore.
what they need to fucking do. Bring back a normal remote for a Nintendo game.
Have you seen like the patents for
like,
the
Wii,
NX?
Like, what
Yeah.
the hell is
So
that?
thin.
Yeah.
So thin. It's so
It's
thin.
like, yeah, you
It
got
needs
to
to be
hold it
this
like
thick.
this to do your one thing, and then, okay, you want to play Mario Kart.
I want to play Mario Kart, not do Mario Kart. Doing a Mario Kart. That would work with VR. Maybe they've already got that in mind with the
It should be
NX.
exactly like that Oculus thing we played on EGX.
That
It
was
just
weird.
feels sick.
The Oculus was bad, but the Morpheus project
One with
VR,
the
whatever,
proper Sony release
there was
one.
nothing on that, was there?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I didn't get any motion
I
sickness.
didn't get any motion. It was definitely still early stages for me. There was still bugs that needed to work out.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite.
The glitchy hands.
Yeah, it wasn't quite like perfect, but
Yeah.
But that isn't with the headset, is it? That's with the sensors
Yeah.
and the
To
thing.
be
that
fair,
just kinda-
I thought that even though I didn't go on the PlayStation stuff, even though the Oculus Rift was pretty good, I can really imagine that working so well for stuff like Mario Kart.
Yeah, people
really
will do
can't.
it, won't they?
Yeah.
Imagine 4 people sat around TV with like headsets.
Yeah, but if
So
someone
sick.
hits you with like one of the turtles and it spins, you're just going to be
Oh,
sick.
God, you
Oh
will.
man.
Perfect.
Oh no.
This is reality. But yeah, I can see that working really well. Like, there's obviously things you'd probably have to fine tune, but I can see
Yeah.
that.
It would kind of take out the point of picking a character though, wouldn't it? Because everything's first person.
True.
Everything's POV.
But then with the Nintendo, you can always play as your me.
then
As
again,
well, you can just
Mario
be
Kart,
yourself.
They did have sort of advantages, didn't they, based on the character.
Some of them were fast, some were slower, some of them hit harder.
True.
Oh really?
Yeah, like
Wish
if you
I
go
would've
as
known that.
Bowser's pretty slow, but then on the
Like
DS one you
Yoshi,
can choose
like,
new
proper
cars
quick.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I use Yoshi for everything and his egg. Yoshi and his egg car.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's cute as fuck as well.
He's so cute.
Yoshi is cute.
Seeing is that Yoshi's yarn
Yeah,
world
yeah.
whatever it is, yeah. So Pokemon.
Pokemon?
I like that.
I'd like to have something that got me excited about Pokemon.
Pokemon VR?
There's not a lot of...
Don't. Because mine is actually almost the same as Matt's in a way, but they've already kind of made it, which is Pokemon Go. I really want it to be so good, but I don't think it will be either.
I don't know if I've dreamt this, but I'm pretty sure I read an article where they said Pokemon Go was just a fake announcement.
Oh no, there was a fake
No.
announcement of a fake
That was the
announcement.
fake
Was it?
announcement.
Yeah,
Fake.
there was.
It is
Ah.
real. It's real. Yeah, it's real.
It's been having
Got
nightmares.
me.
Every
Got me good.
every night
You know
forever
what?
has been having nightmares since.
Scientists need to get on it and make Pokemon.
Well,
Yes! Make me a damn Pokemon.
Nobody cares about dogs anymore.
whoa, bro.
Oh no, because they're doing that in China,
your
aren't
dogs breathing fire.
they? They're in China.
Or-
In China, they're cloning dogs now.
They're
For
cloning
for
dogs.
sale specifically, which is the worst thing you can imagine because there's so many dogs that need homes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're cloning dogs and they're cloning something else and it's just been authorised by their government. These giant factories are going to be doing it and so it's so messed up.
Pretty soon they're going to be dogs that are orange that breathe fire.
They're gonna gene
Dogs that
splice
are white
mouses with electricity.
Fire ice with them.
Oh, they're getting
Ice.
close. Okay, if that's real, I'm into that.
But yeah, Pokemon Go. That's something I've always dreamed about, as in, but I can see it causing so many deaths. Like, I just wanted to go up a mountain to get a Pikachu. I can't see that ending well at all.
That's the thing, like, they better make it so you can at least catch
Just like
the
What
whole
do you think?
entire Pokedex within your local area. It's not like flying to Japan to capture Zapdos. Just because I really want
I think
it.
that would make it more interesting.
Also
Like,
make it financially.
well, you'd be able to
just-
trade across the system. So, like, you
You
find a
can-
friend in America who, like, the only thing
Yeah.
you want from America is like
Like if each
a
country,
Firo or something you could get from
if
America.
each country had a Pokemon they could only get in that country,
Yeah, that'd be
Well,
sweet.
yeah, but
then that's quite sought after. Then you could.
Like, if you want Mewtwo, Fucking Everest, mate.
You got
You gotta get to the top.
you got to get in the secret cave.
What about the
So you
water
gotta
Pokemon? Like you have to be in the middle of this
Go
ocean.
diving.
People on cruise ships are going.
I think my sister's fella told me yesterday, so this is third hand, potentially fourth hand, depending where he heard it from. But he said it does depend on where you are and what is around you. Like if you're in a field, it's grass types and it's
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so if
because
you're
it
in, like,
works.
the desert or something.
Yeah, like it'll use the satellite maps and it'll be able to see what the soundings are and kind of guess where you are.
That makes it more appealing.
You'll
But
see
what I
people
don't want-
making fake beaches in the back garden.
Sand.
Yeah.
What I don't want is kids knocking on my door, going, "I need to get in your garden. I need to get in your garden. Why? I need a bell sprout. It's in the grass.
Just let me get the Metapod.
So put a fruit in the
People
tree,
will
I need
actually
it.
start going to like parks again. You're just gonna have kids
Yeah.
like walking through like the rose section.
Yeah.
It's going to get kids outside,
Old
but it's
people
going
like
to
us.
Yeah.
Looking pretty creepy.
With the kids.
In the rose bushes.
Yeah, Nintendo's. It's going to get people out of the house. It's going to get kids out of the house, but they are going to be out of the house like this,
Yeah.
which will cause traffic accidents.
They did have they've got the wrist thing as well, haven't they?
Oh,
You can wear it
no.
on you, but no fuck is going to do that.
What if they found a way to link it to like Google Glasses so it could come up like an alert? that's
Yeah,
like
they'll have
Pokemon
po-
That's what the
Pokemon
thing's for. It
glasses
like
on.
vibrates and lights up when you have it. It's
So
like
they
a
should
watch.
come out with a drug.
Excuse me. Where you can see Pokemon.
Just hallucinate them.
Test the next bit, like, I wanna-
LSD.
Yeah, I'm pretty
exists.
sure those drugs exist.
That
Yeah,
exists
but you
on
might
acid.
start like getting influxes of different games.
UK do not endorse drug use.
You're trying to catch a Pikachu and there's a big daddy just staring at you.
Yeah, it's like, oh Pikachu, sin.
That's crazy. Okay, so I've got an interesting one. I've got a couple that I could have gone for. I'm going to go for a non-traditional one because you guys have all picked games that I could definitely see happening. Something like a text adventure, where because someone has made this game and they obviously had an image of what this game was supposed to be like, and then you read it. It's like reading a book and then going to the cinema and seeing it all in front of you.
So a game that has been lost to the archives of text-based games.
Yeah, exactly. So I
And
mean,
it hasn't caught up. But
I'm
it
not
was.
on the
But it had the
opinion
potential
that
to be an amazing game.
yeah, because text adventures just obviously they don't have a place anymore.
You
do
just
they?
have
There's,
to use your imagination.
there's like choose your own adventure
Yeah.
apps and stuff like that, but actual games where you have to type where they go and stuff like that, they don't exist anymore. And I think that'd be quite good just to play something like play them as a text adventure and then go and play as a a fully realised next generation game. I think that'd be great.
That could go either way though, because you mentioned it's like reading a book and then watching a film, because that always ends badly in my experience.
It ends badly from plot points though.
See, I
rather than-
hate
yeah,
these people
what
that
you can
read
see.
books and then watch films because they're always like, "Oh, well, the book's so much better than the film."
Well,
That's
I'll
all I ever hear.
give you some
that's-
advice for the future then.
All I ever hear. The book's better than the
That's
film.
never happened to me until I went on holiday and read The Martian, and then went and saw the film.
I haven't seen it yet.
The Hobbit trilogy.
I haven't read The Hobbit.
Yeah.
So.
Uh-huh.
That
That last film,
The only film that has ever successfully pulled it off, in my opinion, is The Lord of the Rings.
which was such a shame that the Hobbit just went.
Yeah, because in my
That's
eyes,
shit. I
The
love
Lord of the
the
Rings,
first one's
I absolutely love The Lord of the Rings, but I don't like the books. It's one of the series of
written in a
books
very
I've
strange way.
always struggled to read, whereas The Hobbit was the best book out of the series, in my opinion. And then the film, they suddenly went from this live action make-up prosthetics appearance to this CG combat
And they
extravaganza.
filmed it at 42 frames a second as well. What was wrong with that?
Yeah, it's because they shot it with
Was it 48? Sorry.
Yeah, they shot it with Red Epic cameras, so it had to be shot that high for 3D.
It blurred my eyes when I was trying to watch this. Like everything in your peripherals is just completely blurred.
And in the end, I think the problem was in The Lord of the Rings, they made the world was a character in itself. They brought
Yep.
the world to life, whereas the world wasn't believable in The Hobbit because it was so CG, because it was obvious CG. It's like the combat in Lord of the Rings is like Game of Thrones. It's just very straightforward,
You're dead.
choreographed.
No, you're dead.
Whereas in like the Goblin scene, like I enjoyed the Hobbit trilogy, but when they're in the mines with the goblins and you're sitting there watching going, there isn't a single actor present in this scene. It's just 100% animated. And it's just, there's no weight, there's no
My
gravity.
favourite character from the third film of the Hobbit trilogy was Dale? Or Dane?
The English guy. No.
His
So
brother?
what's he look like?
His
Oh,
cousin,
the-
sorry.
oh.
Thorin's cousin. And he rides the pig.
Yeah.
He's a
Okay.
badass,
So
but he's
Sean-
entirely CGI.
Yeah.
Entirely.
Oh,
He's such
okay.
a badass.
Yeah.
Turns up with a massive
Billy Connolly.
ginger beard.
Billy Connolly, that's the one.
Billy Connolly.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I remember.
Massive
him.
ginger
No,
beard.
isn't that because
mohawk.
he got like
Right.
really ill during production, so they had to use CG for him?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't.
The more you know.
Yeah, I remember
The
him.
more you know.
I remember seeing something about him being ill. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he
No
got,
one
like,
gets half the
really
battle.
bad. I can't remember
He's
what.
such a badass.
It's-
Turns up
it's
with a
so
Scottish
good.
accent, ginger beard. It's just like dwarf. Then he's riding a pig,
He was running.
and he's got a massive hammer, and he's fucking shit up. Like I'm just like this dude.
It's basically what
Knows
you
how to
are.
party.
I want a beer with him.
These are my people. That's my nationality right there.
So we had Monster Hunter,
Jack
Jack and Daxter, Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Bit more Pokemon.
Bit more Pokemon. And general text adventures. If I go back just a little bit further, I want an honourable mention because my old favourite fighting game was Battle Arena Toshinden. It was just the fastest kind of ring out sort of fighting game, swords, everything. It was like when the PS1 was first around, there was demo discs and stuff, and I kind of had it, maybe rented it for a few days. And it was a great game. If you guys look it up afterwards, it's such a good fighting game. It's such like open rings, but they move around them so fast and stuff like that. Check it out. Do it. These guys haven't had a gaming education whatsoever, apparently.
What console was that on?
PS1.
PS1?
Consoles.
There was a lot of games back on the PS1 that disappeared.
Did you ever play Scar?
Scar.
S.C.A.
Oh, I can
the
see.
racing game.
I can see the case for it. But
Yeah. Hold on, that game.
Yeah. Did you ever play? We're just going through some racing games now. Roll Cage. And they're making a
I
sequel.
was big on
Not a sequel, though.
Gran Turismo on PS2.
Gran Turismo was good.
So,
They're doing a VR Gran Turismo.
Oh damn!
I
That
knew.
might make me buy a PlayStation.
I called this one a little bit earlier. I said that if anyone's going to make a VR specific game, it's probably going to be the company Polyphony. And Polyphony are Gran Turismo. And if you've ever seen like the inside of their buildings, you can't just sit down and play Gran Turismo. You have to sit into a racing seat, and there has to be 5 screens around you. And you see these screenshots, and you think they're doing VR, 100%.
Yeah.
It's not. What is it now? Gran Turismo 7
I think
or
so,
something
yeah.
like.
I've not played any of the most modern ones. I only played 1 and 2.
Yeah. Well, that's all. 2 is all you need.
Yeah.
I've seen with the VR, obviously, there's a lot of people having like motion sickness problems, things like that with VR, and I think the problem's going to stem from how unnatural the movement is. So, for example, if I'm looking at you now, I will turn my head and I can still look at you. That's fine. Whereas VR is based on the idea that your eyes are always going
Always
to
looking
be
forward.
completely perpendicular to the direction
Didn't get that
you're
in
looking.
PlayStation VR because
So-
I was looking around and it was fine.
No, but I mean, you'll look around, but it's not going to move. So, but until
What do
you
you
turn your, so when you turn your head, for example, so if you turn your head this way, I can turn my head this way and still look at Sam. Whereas that's not really going to happen in VR because the screen.
In VR, it's kind of like
turn.
this is your viewpoint, and this is how it goes.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's not following your eyes, it's following your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who are making the games have sort of said you have to learn to move your head rather than move your eyes. But
Yeah.
at the same time,
That's
during
unnatural,
the
isn't it?
during the learning process, I didn't have any problems with one changing the way that my eyes worked,
Yeah.
and 2, if I did still go back to the human way of moving my eyes, there was no noticeable unnatural.
Disadvantages,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those things where it is going to cause motion sickness, and people that have motion sickness tablet companies are going to make a fortune. But I think people just
I'm
get
gonna
used
go
to
play
it.
my PlayStation. Give me my tablets.
I just think
Bumped into
people are
others.
just going to get used to it over time.
Yeah, I think
so.
that will. It's. I think for me, and this is my final point before we probably move on, is that VR isn't going to be something that I come home and spend 6 hours in.
Yeah.
Like I could, look
Yeah.
at a screen. I'm probably going to pop in and disappear from the world for half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's-
in the same breath, is that worth spending all that money on it?
Depends how often
And
I
the
do.
periphery sort of like.
I don't know, an amnesia VR, that'd be quite a good experience. You 10 minutes at a time. No, I'm done. That's it.
If you just put it on and
Hey.
start screaming, who am I?
You cray.
That's how long it takes.
Who
to
am
learn.
I?
Oh, amnesia is terrifying. Terrifying game.
No, I think it will be good for a little escape, and then I like what PS4 are doing, where you can watch the screen on the TV, so you can see what someone's doing in there.
Yeah.
And you also there's games where you are a dinosaur that's roaming through the streets and you're destroying the buildings, and someone's there on the TV with the planes trying to shoot you down.
Yeah.
That sounds sick.
Yeah.
That's something that PlayStation do and that Oculus haven't, because if you broadcast that to a screen, you get the 2 images, the 2D version of the 3D image, whereas PlayStation have got. I think the VR headset has got its own processor, so it deals with it itself, which is why it's going to be £300. That's my call. I'm predicting that straight away. It's going to be £300 for that headset. Oculus will be cheaper.
Coming round to you.